arduous journey from Jingling, master teacher finally set foot in Tian Tai Mountain, whereby Master Ding Guang asked for the reason for the trip here, and then they found a place to live, and Master teaches a retreat at the Huading Peak and the difficult spiritual retreat. This is a summary. Okay, from Jingling to Tian Tai San, it is really an arduous journey whereby they have difficult mountain terrain, and they may have to spend the night in the wilderness if they can't find a proper place to live. And the journey last time was by walking. It is not as simple as nowadays when we can, take plane or car, and really that is really the spirit of these Dharma masters to get Dharma teachings. So in this case, I think I have to repent. Only last night we had a training, Wu Liang Yi Jing Gong Xiu at our Gong Xiu Chu. It was raining quite heavily, and actually I thought of not going. While raining so heavily, might as well I stay at home. But then later I said, well, I just did this PPT. I said I just did this Dharma teacher. I said, wow, people from Jingling to Tian Tai San, such a long journey, so arduous, and yet people have the spirit that to chiu fo fa. Okay, so therefore, eventually I went. I am also embarrassed. Okay, so it is a spirit of this Dharma master teacher that we should learn. And that's why the master teacher gave up a good life in Jingling, led an ascetic life in Mount Tian Tai, in the same way as master and the five disciples in a tiny wooden hut, Puming Temple in Hualien, with 4 pieces of tofu, lasted them 1 month. Life was so difficult, but master persevered and determined in her cultivation. Is it not her perseverance and determination? And again here, during our, what do you call it? Sometimes when we go for charity visits, sometimes when it's a bit difficult, we do have to hesitate. So again, we have to improve on that. I have to improve on that. Okay, when they reach a Tian Tai Mountain, Master Deng Guang asked the reason for Master Teacher trip over here. The conflicts among the various, where she cited that the conflicts among the various Buddhist sects, which may eventually lead to the downfall of Buddhism and the deviation of true Dharma. Fewer people really understand Buddha's teachings. Most probably, I think, maybe just for the sake of listening, or sometimes this is what previously, when I am a born Buddhist, I used to follow my mother to temples, but every time we only go there to ask for blessings. We don't really understand Buddha's teachings. See, so again, it's like, we follow whatever other people are doing. We really don't understand. So here again, Master Teacher said he could not bear to see the people suffer. That's why he need to come to Tian Tai Mountain. The compassion, that is a compassion to save sentient beings. And only by dwelling into the Buddha's teachings, he can probably resolve all these issues. The same as our Master Ching Yen, with a pool of blood, and her compassion to relieve sufferings of the people led to the founding of Tzu Ji. And also our Grandmaster Yin Shun Fa Shi, who said give 6 words to Master for Buddhism and for sentient beings. Now, during the journey from the start of 1966 to the TC missions and the 8 footprints, there are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of challenges, but Master Ching Yen, our master, persevered, and her compassion to save sentient beings is so great that he overcome all the challenges. And one of the challenges is the first Tsuchi hospital. A Japanese man wanted to donate, I think it's $200 million. However, Master did not accept. Had Master accepted the donation, Tsuchi Hospital would have functioned of what it is today, but may function as a hospital, but would not have the ability to inspire the intrinsic goodness of 10 millions of people. At that time, I think $200 million meant a lot to that building of that hospital, but yet Master did not accept. Is it not faith, determination, and courage? And the faith in Master's own selflessness, love, and people's love. The same as in a KamFoong Titingan Tawau, when the black area turned bright and not many people there to go in. Even policemen dare not go in because it is a notorious area. But one of the sisters there dared to walk in. I think it would be that her faith and her mission to save people, and the belief that what she did what she's going to do will be able to make a difference in the people's, in those stateless people. Yes, it's faith, determination, and courage. And during a recent medical outreach in Tawau, these stateless people did a souyu, from running around along the streets in KamFoong Titingan. They have now proper schooling, and they're able to make a difference in their lives. If not, it would be the same as what their forefathers are doing. Okay, again, gambling and all this. So that is the faith and determination of our Tzu sisters. So each of us will, when we get commissioned, we have this the emulate Buddha's spirit and take up Master's mission as our own. And we must have the faith. The mind, Buddha, and all centuries are no different in their nature. As what Master Ching Yen always said, 心心毅力勇气 these three rules, there's nothing that cannot be done. Sorry, my Mandarin is not good because I am not a bilingual. I just learn along the way. When we shoulder responsibilities, do we worry? Yes, but we must not be disheartened. And is that said in the series where Master Ding Wang said, all that you hope for is to save lives. With great vows, you brace yourself for all obstacles. So do we have challenges when walking the path? Yes. As we walk along this path, there are many challenges because people, relationships, we have different opinions. And if you don't see from my point of view, we may get, I'm not saying I may get disheartened or even sometimes, do not want to do. Okay, I would like to share my own experience. Vows, sometimes initially when I started this journey from a new volunteer to even patient, I dare not make vows. Every time, whenever there's training, they ask us to, make vows. How many people are you going to recruit for how long, for each quarter and all this? I refuse to make vows. Okay. I say, I'll do what I can, but not vows, because, again, it may be, from our, I have this, many people, I have this notion that if we cannot fulfill our vow, we have a sin. So I don't want to make vows. Only recently, but no, during my commissioning in 2015, again, asked us to make vows. So actually there and then I make a vow, but it's only known to myself because I didn't tell anyone. Why? Is because I scared if if I'm not able to fulfill, again, I may have sinned. But then during 4-in-1 camp, recent June, I even made known in front of Master. I said, my vow, actually it's the same vow as I did when I commissioned it. It was to grow English group. And I make known to all present. And even now I've seen, I think even videos, we have it. So after I make that vow, I feel that, you know, it's not feel, you know, I found out that I find that there are many blessings coming along the way. You know, when I make that vow, I am sincere in the vow to grow English group, and there are so many benefactors coming. When I want to do this, oh, this benefactor will come, that benefactor will come, and we do it together. And I have that courage. And each time when I say I want to reverse, so to speak, okay, I mean, I think it's so difficult, as well, I don't do. Again, that vow comes back to me. Say, you have made that vow, okay? And I want to make good that vow. And I have been, you know, along this journey I've been doing, as again, many benefactors come and help me out. So with vows comes strength. But sometimes you may have the other side of the coin when people say that. That's why when you make vows, if you make known your vow, you know, if you go, you cannot fulfill it, people would laugh at you. Will say, hey, what, you didn't do this vow, you know. But then it's a matter of how much we want to, how strong is that vow. So with love comes blessings. Again, if we believe in our selflessness, lover, okay, blessings come along. But the disciples then found a place to continue cultivation, where Master Teacher went over to Harding Peak for retreat. Okay, the disciples though Master Teacher was not with them, they continue to uphold their precepts. And the precepts upholding, we need to also uphold the precepts, our 10 precepts, 10 precepts. When it comes to precepts, it is fundamental in our cultivation. We uphold precepts to keep our mind and body pure, and we have no afflictions or guilt, and avoid all kinds of defilement. And it's actually a firewall that helps to eliminate defilement. Again, here I would like to share again my own experience, speech karma. My temper is very quick, and I'm very sharp in my speech. Whenever I don't feel like it, okay, I will commit. I will start to commit my speech karma. But after doing this book study, where I also do Tao Tu for Medicine Buddha Sutra, that I learn about speech karma and all this, and now I refrain myself, okay, and also from Master's videos teachings, I say 上人说不可以造口业, okay, and immediately, like I said, I just 吞了下去. I wanted to scold already, but I swallow and I zip my mouth. I'm beginning to refrain from committing too many speech karma. At times I still do lah, okay, but very much lesser already. So if all of us uphold our precepts, the world we will have world peace. So in summary, okay, it is faith, determination, courage, and with vow comes strength and upholding of precepts. 感恩 brothers and sisters. That's my sharing for today.
Okay, thank you, Sister Eunice. That was a very very quick and very to the point. Perhaps a little bit like your temper, right?
Yes.
To the point, and I see that the point that you made, I think is one of the top ones. It's very very clear, and it's got all the little things here and there that really makes it good. So thank you for your preparation. There are a couple of things that I wanted to share with you. There was a slide that you have in the early on, talks about the arduous journey. I think one of the things that I thought about, that why is it that Tzu Chi volunteers, when people see Tzu Chi volunteers dressed in blue and white, when people see us and they feel so warm and they feel so happy to see us, I believe one of the key reasons is not because we brought them good things, we brought them relief goods, or we brought them whatever it is that we brought them. It is one of the reasons, but I think one of the key aspects is that we have all given up on something to be there. Perhaps we gave up on our comfort, we gave up on our scheduling, we gave up on our original plan to do something, and we choose to not do that. We gave up something to be there. So at that moment, they see us so friendly. They see us and they are willing to extend their arms to welcome us, because they don't see us for who we are. They see that we have given up so much to be there just to help them. And I think that's why they like us. They really sincerely smiled when they see us. So on the same token, I think that with all the great past masters, they have all given up on something. That is why we appreciate their efforts so much. Imagine if someone who merely just flip his finger or snap the finger and was able to bring all the Dharma from India, from the old India to China or any other place, or expound the Dharma, all of that. Yes, they would have done a great service, but we wouldn't have the same reverence to them as you would the other masters, because the other masters, they all endure and they have all given up on something. Just like master, I think that's what's called virtue, in that they have given up so much to be there. And like master said, if you let go of something, then you will gain something, because they gave up on so much that they have gained so much also. Okay, so that's what I thought about the arduous path, or the arduous trip, and given up on so much, including I think you drew the parallel on the very good life that master could have had, but instead she had given up on that, and therefore was able to gain so much more, which is the entire Tzu Chi world that we're talking about. The other thing was, I think there was a part where you had the 为佛教为众生, and the translation you had was for Buddhism, and I like to make a little modification on that. I think it's for all sentient beings, I think we could agree, but I think I have a different perspective now. For Buddhism sounds like and it is the religion that was started by the Buddha. But I would like to think of it as for Buddha's teaching and for sentient beings. I think in Chinese is 佛教, okay, and the literal meaning is actually the religion or the philosophy that was founded by the Buddha. But if you actually look at these two characters and if you take them apart, it's actually Buddha teaches, okay, and loosely speaking, it's Buddha's teaching. And what that means is it's not exactly a religion. It's the teaching that we follow. It's not the religion that we follow. If you understand what I'm trying to say, that is why we're able to be above and beyond religion, because we're not following a particular religion. We're following the particular teaching. And because we follow the teaching, that is how we go beyond the religion itself. That is how Tzu Chi was able to go beyond, because we're not talking about the religion only. We're talking about the teaching that is so much broader, that has encompassed so much more. It never tries to separate, or it never tries to identify a person by their belief or religion. It's always trying to capture a bigger picture, which is the teaching itself, which is perseverance, right? In the face of obstacles, persevere. And if you act on these principles, then I'm sure you will be able to you'll be able to gain so much more. So that was something else that I wanted to follow up with that. The next thing that I wanted to that I wanted to provide the feedback on was, Eunice, your reaction or your own experience with vows, and I think my take on vow is a little bit different too. I tend to have something. I like to have different views, but I like to agree. But I like to think of things differently. I think of vows as a renewal, and that's why I think when Master sees us, she sees us for the vows that we made. So she knew, because I think in the past we made the same vows to her. In whatever capacity, I obviously don't remember. But I think we made these vows because we now sing, life after life will follow your step, right? And I'm sure she remember all of us when we said that. And she was holding us on that too. And she remember that. So I think the vows that we make this lifetime, even though to us it might be something new, but I think it's something that we continue. So she remembered. And the moment that you picked up the vow that you made to her lifetimes ago, she knew that you'd come back. She knew that this is the path that you now re-entered the path again. But if you haven't, it means that you sort of forgot, or you are still trying to remember, and she'll try very hard to get you back on that path. So I think it's like, if you're talking to your children and your child said, "Mom, I'll never do that again," right? And you remember that, and the child probably will forget. So the very next time they happen again, you would know that they haven't learned their lessons. Until maybe the second or the third time, the child says, "Mom, I'll never do that again." And you'll be like, "Yeah, I know you said that before." So it's more like the vow is always there. And I think we made the vow this life to continue it. So do not be afraid of not being able to accomplish your vow, because if you believe what I just said, which I believe what I just said, then this is something that has been going on for a long time. And it's on and off. Sometimes you make the vow and you do it. Sometimes you make the vow and you don't do it. Sometimes you don't make the vow and you do it. Sometimes you don't make the vow and you don't do it. So whatever it is, on and off, on and off, on and off. And it's a statement that tells you whether you remember what you said you were going to do or not. And it's a statement you make to your teacher. So that's the idea of the vows. Lastly, on your summary page, you talked about faith, determination, and courage. And I'd like to have a little bit more discussion on these three things. The reason why these three things are so intertwined is they're sort of the same thing. Okay, so if you look at faith, is to believe something that you perhaps couldn't see, couldn't prove, couldn't quite explain. So I don't want to say it's a blind belief, but it's belief with spirituality or with your mind. So there are so many things in this world that is beyond what we can see or feel or sense or touch. So if you look at our six senses, these are the things that we come to believe is the physical world. But faith is believing because the sixth one, the sixth sense or the seventh or the eighth, depending on how you want to verify that, they felt it, but it's just not out of the first five, well, which is the eyes, the ears, the nose, the sight, the sound, the touch, and the smell, and the taste, right? So those five are very concrete, but it's the sixth sense or the one or the senses that's beyond the sixth that tells you that you can believe, and that's what faith is. However, it is difficult because you don't get the proof as easily as the first five. So you need courage. You need courage to have the bravery to believe. It's almost like when the light goes out right now and you lose your sight and you lose your touch, you lose everything. Can you still walk out of your room knowing where the door is? And at some time you need to rely on knowing just before the light goes out, you know the door is that away. So you're going on that direction. You knew that the door wasn't going to change on you, even though you didn't see it any longer, right? That's faith, right? You know that it's there, even though you can't see it and you haven't touched it. You know it's there, okay? So you need a certain level of courage to continue walking and believing something that because other people who might not have saw the door would question you. And you need courage to continue on. And you need determination because otherwise having courage itself is not enough. You need to be determined, that not just to be brave, but you need to be determined. So all these things actually all support one the other. And I think that's what that is important. You need to believe something. You need to have the courage to overcome other people's disbelief and your own disbelief. And then you have to have the determination to continue carry on because the door is that way and you'll eventually get there. Okay. So with vows comes strength. And I think 有愿就有力. It's something of a chicken and egg, you know, which one comes first? Do you have to have the strength to make the vow, or do you have to make the vow first so the strength comes? And just like as I mentioned before, if you believe that the vows is only continuing what happened before, then I also believe that how to do certain things also come from before. Like you knew how to do this, just like you knew that you were going to do this, but on some level you forgot, and so are some other people. Okay, so sometimes we all make the same vow, but we forgot. And when I made the vow because somehow I remembered, maybe you will be inspired too, and you make the same vow. And it's not because of me, it's because you remembered. Okay, so it's the same vow that you made before because we made the vow together. So the strength might not really mean that you become more powerful, but rather there are now more people believing in this cause. That is the strength too. Sometimes the strength comes from courage. Sometimes the strength comes from number. Sometimes the strength comes from faith. But whichever it is, I really believe that why is there more strength? Because you believe. And when you believe, many doors becomes open. Where previously they were closed, now they're open. Lastly, we're talking about upholding the precept. And as you probably all know, that there is the three 三无漏学, 戒定慧. And the first one is the upholding the precept. And it's the same idea that the most important thing is to uphold the precept, to help us accumulate the clarity of the mind so that we were able to have the strength to deal with all the problems. So this is probably something that we probably hear a lot. And the reason why I'm going through all these three things on the last page here is because I think this is what I mentioned in the first part, which is that is exactly Buddhist teaching is. It's not just Buddhism. You will find all these attributes, all these characters in all the other religions. All the other religions also tell you what you cannot do or what you can do. All these other religions also inspire your vows, your faith, your determination, your courage, and your strength. All these things come shared with all the religions. So it's not just the religion, it's actually the teachings. The teachings is what gets you through. Now, because they need to have an identification of all these teachings, that's when it became a religion. So I don't think we are just limited, and I don't think Master is talking about upholding the specific religion that is called Buddhism, but rather I think Master is talking about the upholding the teaching that was what Buddha taught us. Okay, so that is my I thought of something and then I forgot. So that's what I wanted to share today. So thank you, Eunice. I think you've done a wonderful job. You've gone through it very quickly, but it was a lot of. I can see that you spent a lot of time preparing and getting the PPT done in a very, very it's a very modern fashion. It's I like it. You probably are very good at it too. So I enjoyed it a lot, even though it was a little bit too short. Okay, thank you.
So can I ask a question? Okay, again, like many people, very fearful of making vows, because if you cannot accomplish your vow, you're committing a sin. So how do you explain this?
Okay, so for example, I don't believe that. For me, I don't believe that there is a timestamp. So massive vow is to 净化人心. And I don't think there is a timestamp that says I need to finish it by Sunday. So it's such a great vow in that it overarches time and space, right? It's not just about here and now. It's about an overarching vow. So how do you? So right now it's just not accomplished, right? Does that mean it's a sin? No, it means it's unaccomplished. It's incomplete. But I am not stopping until that is done, right? So if you put it that way, and if you really believe that's the courage part. It's a courage part. That's the faith also, because you can't prove it. The faith tells you that the courage says that this is the right thing to do. You have to have the bravery to do this. The faith tells you that perhaps that you can't prove that I will continue this vow in the next lifetime. You just have to believe, right? You can't prove that my soul, if you stamp it on as Joe, right? You can't prove that this soul is going to continue this vow. You can't. So the only thing that you can do is rely on your belief, faith, that that's going to be what happened. And you have to have the courage to say that, well, I don't think that it's going to be a sin because I'm not stopping, right? And how all that works? Determination. Don't stop, okay? So don't be afraid, because if you really believe it, you're not going to stop, and you shouldn't stop. And that is why Master says, if it's the right thing, do it, because that's how the vows are. If it's the right thing, do it. Don't do it because everybody is making vows. Do it because you know it's right. And once you do it, once you say it, once you make a vow, then have the faith, have the determination, have the courage to continue. Okay, so what can I say? Don't be afraid. That's probably the easy answer. Don't be afraid.
Okay.
So anyone else? Anyone else who would like to provide feedback?
Very kind.
Can,
Okay, there's this questions on the group vow. Sometimes we are thinking whether if everyone can make the common vow together, then there will be strength in it. But sometimes we also heard that not everyone is ready for this group vow. Maybe it may not be very suitable to do a group vow. If anything, it should be on personal basis. That's the question. Is it good to encourage each other to make a common vow so that life after life we can pull this through together, rather than one person walking on this path, we can walk together?
Okay, so it's a good question, Citizen Searching. The idea was that the vow shouldn't be forced upon, right? No one should be forced upon a particular vow. And that is what it means that, only make the vow when you're ready. And like when we all sing, like we really do meant it. It just, maybe you never thought of it. Maybe you were singing before and now you really felt it. But no, I don't think anybody should be forced upon, but it's called inspiration. No one is forcing you to make the vow, but it inspires you to want to follow because you really felt it, you really want to, you really think that that's the path you want to go. Okay, so I agree. I don't think it's very personal. It's something that you had to have. The three things that Eunice mentioned from the chapter 15 was you need to have faith, right? You need to have determination. You need to have courage. And a lot of times, it's almost like you want to take that leap of faith, but can you guarantee that whoever that made the vow with you will make the same leap with you? Or are you going to be the only one? So that's the courage, if he comes along, great. If he doesn't, you got to do it yourself too, right? And if that's what courage is, right? And determination is what, once you said it, once you make the vow, go, don't stop. And that's where faith comes in, because there is no telling, there is no guarantee, right? No guarantee it's going to come tomorrow or the day after. With vow comes strength. Well, when and where is going to strength come from? There is no guarantee, right? So while it hasn't come yet, have strength. We don't know when it's going to be here, so be determined, because we don't know when it's going to be here. But yeah, I agree. It has to be on the personal level. I don't think anyone should make the vow for me. I don't think anyone should make the vow for me, but you. Okay, you have got to do it yourself.
Brother Joe.
Brother Joe, can I have a question? Irene here. The upholding of precept. We know the precept in Churchy, Master says to actually help us not doing the wrong thing. But having said that, even the first precept, do not kill, or even the traffic regulation, sometimes we still can't fulfill 100%. There's still some leeway. So when we did not uphold the precept in totality, are we really in the wrong and commit very bad karma? Thank you.
Okay, so I understand. I have the same questions before. I have the same questions, same doubt. Yeah, like you, Irene said, like you said, we knew that it's supposed to be there to help us, but like we haven't had any issues or troubles. yet. So we tend to extend and say, well, you know, like it's the speed limit is 60 and we go, you know, 10 above, which is still within regulation. Like they wouldn't give us ticket. So technically it's not illegal. You know, technically you're still upholding vows. To me, I think the vows are so this is something very, very funny. So if you watch the reruns now, right? Now the reruns is on chapter 1, okay? And it really goes back to 10 years ago when Master started to talk about the Lotus Sutra, right? So the first part about the Lotus Sutra, it talks about how many people and who are here, right? So there's a lot of names, right? So when I rewatched all these episodes, what came to my mind was all these names. You know, there were the full moon, okay, there was the treasury moon. There's all these, there's 3 straight about the moons. And I was thinking, you know, Master was explaining what these bodhisattva, their names really meant. Oh, it meant that, you know, of course, Manjushri meant wisdom, okay, and there, you know, there's Guan Yin, there's all these bodhisattva, they all meant different things. There's compassion, and there's wisdom, there's determination, there's great power, right? 大势至菩萨, there's great power. There's one with, you know, 宝掌菩萨 that talks about making sure, seizing every moment and seizing every opportunity, never letting. And there's one is never resting, right? 不休息菩萨. So you have all these bodhisattva, and their names were all mentioned. And to me, the idea wasn't that the Buddha was talking about the presence of these bodhisattva. The idea was that the Buddha was talking about the attributes, the characteristics of his disciples. And they all share this, you know, maybe out of the 8,000, or was it 80,000 bodhisattvas. Most of them share the same traits of compassion. Most of them share the same traits as wisdom. Most of them share the same traits as always diligent and never resting. So instead of saying all those attributes, it was summarized with names. So the names itself carry more meaning than just the names itself. In fact, are there really those bodhisattvas? We don't know. But the whole idea was that the names carry so much more. It meant a whole background, a whole backstory of what the names really entails. And why did I say that? There was a story in the Buddhist text about the Buddha. She grabbed onto the flower, the petal of the flower, and then one of his disciples smiled, and that's when the Buddha said, "I'm going to pass the robes and all pass the heritage to him." And no one smiled by him. It's the same idea, right? It's like when the Buddha said the names, do you understand that the Buddha is talking about the traits and the attributes and the characteristics of the bodhisattva, but not that bodhisattva? Okay, so like the holding the flower petal, it's not okay. So thank you, doctor. It's kayaspa, right? So it's so that flower or that story, okay. So that disciple knew what it meant. That's why he smiled. And it's the same idea when the Buddha talks about all the names. Do we understand the meaning, or do we just know the names? Same thing. The 10 precepts. Do we know the meaning, or do we just know the precepts? If you adhere to the wording, then it's called do not exceed speed limit. Do not go when it's red light. But do you know what it means? It means that there are rules and regulations that tells you to do certain things. Are you going to go over that? Or are you willing to abide by that? How much are you going to abide by that? And how much are you going to restrict yourself, even though you know it's okay? but you know it's not okay because it's not part of the law. It's not permitted by the law, or it's not permitted by the law. But you know it's okay. Are you still going to do it, right? So when there's no police around, are you going to abide by the traffic law? Same thing. If there are other people around you to look at you, are you going to abide by the rules? And if there's no one to look at you, are you going to abide by the rules? Those are the things that I think is what these 10 precepts is talking about. Is, are you going to do this? Do you understand it's not just the traffic rules? It's more than that. And can you see beyond that? Or can you only see the traffic rules? So that's what I think about the 10 precepts. You know, every little bit that you do just shows that there are different scales, that perhaps you're okay with breaking the speed limit by 5 and others by 10. Perhaps you're okay with that. But I think what the master is telling us is that look into yourself, and if this is not just a traffic rule, but this is something else, like, are you okay with, maybe out of 1 month, you eat 1 meal that is not vegetarian? Okay. And that's what that is. The bounds are set for you. How firm are you in holding up that boundary? And if you're very firm, that's shaping up your character. But if you're not, then it wobbles. Sometimes okay, sometimes not okay. It's like shady. Like you don't have a very clear white and black. Shady. Sometimes okay, sometimes not okay. When we are dealing with things, your actions might may be a little bit accommodating, but not your principle. Not your principle. If you're in a hurry, for example, it's red light. There's no car around. Are you going to go across? Are you going to go across the street? And why? Okay. So, or if there's a red light, no cars around, and someone across the street needs your help right now, are you going to stay adhere to the traffic rules? That's what I meant. The principles stay, but your actions could adapt depending on the situation. So that's what I think the 10 precepts really talks about. It's not just a precept, just like the story. It's not just the flower that the Buddha was holding. It meant more. And for whoever those that got it, they get it. They know it's not that. It's not just that. What it is, I don't know. But it's more than that. Same thing about the 10 precepts. And until we get what it is, we will still be holding it to the wording, which is don't speed. But I think it's more than that. It's helping to shape your character to know, maybe we shouldn't do this. You've got to be strong enough so that you are not two people, whether there's somebody watching or not. You're the same people. You're the same person. No more, no less. Same person. Okay, so that's what I think about the 10 precepts. I hope that helps. It's not a very direct answer, but it's something that I hope I can give you more deeper thinking about, just from the recent morning Dharma talks, the reruns. It really gave me a lot more thinking to do. So I think it's very good for self-reflection, what the 10 precept is really trying to tell us. It's really trying to tell us more than just no killing and all these other things. All right. So I hope that helps you, Irene. So that's it.
Okay, any more questions? It's almost 9. Okay, if that's it, okay, we continue tomorrow.感恩 Sister KamFoong,感恩 Brother Joe for lots of heartfelt and wisdom sharing.感恩brothers and sisters for all the good questions. Really, Brother Joe, very good explanations on the precepts. Yes, it got me thinking. Very good. Yeah, it's deeper than that. Truly inconceivable. But personally, I would like to take precepts as something that is like protecting ourselves, like a stone. I think Master mentioned once, like a stone, the moss covering the stone is like protecting the stone. So all this, in fact, sorry, in the beginning, I used to think that precepts may be a bit burdenful or bothersome, but the more I understand about Dharma, actually, in fact, it is really protecting ourselves, our armor. Okay, personal thoughts. Okay, and brothers and sisters, for your presence today, we see more people joining. That is very good because it's really very good. Hope that each of us could sustain the Dharma joy and take in another piece of Dharma Master and Hualian love to our life. Let us please make 3 bows to the Buddha and Dharma Master as we depart to apply these teachings in our daily life. Let us pay our respects to our teachers of life, universal truth. Palms together. First bow. Second bow. And third bow. Cảm ơn everyone. See everyone tomorrow. Cảm ơn.